Yes, sir. We are back. Super excited about today's show. It is the Fantasy NBA today. Hello, Rick Kamla, Hall of Famer, Steve Alexander, a.k.a. Dr. A. We're the GOATs. We're the OGs. We're not a GOAT. We're not a OG. We are the GOATs, the OGs. There's a difference. And Doc, if they don't know, we should let them know, but you can Google us. We like to kid around, man, but it is Cam, it is Doc. Doc, later in the show, we are going to give our ATS and prop bet releases for Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Dude, I literally can't wait for this game. I am poised with a decision. Do I just stay home and watch the game? Do I go out to a band bar? It's bike night, okay? Not crazy about bike night. A little rough for your boy. It's bike night in a killer band, and they will have a TV there with the game on. So I'm torn. Do I just stay home and or do I go out and sort of try to multitask? So that's what I'm poised with here. But regardless, I will be watching Game 3.
Well, every place that I have an option to watch the game in, if I leave my house, there is no volume. And I'm to the point of my life where if it's a game I really care about, I would like to hear what's going on. I would like to not be distracted by everything going on. I would like to not be sucked into a bunch of Golden Tee games, which I'm watching instead of the game. So I know that the last two games, game one, I was locked in my house by myself with tons of volume on the TV and I no distractions. Game two, I was out playing Golden Tee and had the game on in the background. I think I'm staying in with volume and focus tonight. It's a big game.
It's a big game.
It's the winner of it. If Oklahoma City wins this game, they win the series. I think.
But you're not willing to say that about Indiana, are you?
Correct. If Indiana wins tonight, that's a big step in the right direction. But OKC's still the favorite.
I'm not ready to say that if OKC wins this game tonight, that they win the series. I'm not ready to say that. I'm not ready to say that. So I got a big decision. Sounds like Doc is eschewing Golden Tee and Johnny B's, or what is it? The Underground? Is that the other one?
Yeah.
The other spot up there. All right. Well, I'll tell you what's not underground and what's extremely mainstream is the best betting platform out there. Our boys and girls at Bet Online. They are the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. With baseball season in full swing, we're deep into the NBA and NHL finals. The finals are 2-1 right now. Florida dominated Game 3. My God, Edmonton. Where's your manhood? And BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. We keep the dog days of summer rolling with the largest selection of odds on everything, with updated odds on MLB, UFC, boxing, tennis, NFL futures. BetOnline remains the best online source for all your sports wagering info. And in between games, head over to the BetOnline casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and a live casino. And good luck. BetOnline, the game starts here. Quick note for y'all watching here on Twitter, okay? Heads up, every offseason episode, most offseason episodes are going to be available on this platform, but not all of them. So if you want to wire to wire, hang in there with your boys Cam and Doc, make sure you subscribe to the Fantasy NBA Today podcast feed, and then you can catch every episode and stay in the loop, and you'll know as much about the Wizards as you do about the Nuggets, okay? And so we start with the Mavericks here today. And Doc, I have a trivia question for you, okay? I want to start with a trivia question. We are in the off season, and we're sort of, I don't know where the Andre trivia questions have gone. Maybe that's a later in the off season thing, Doc. But I do have a trivia question for you, okay? And it is this: the Dallas Mavericks had 12 different players average 10 plus points last season. First of all, that's insane, right? 12 different players averaged double figures on the Mavericks last year. I want you to grab a pen. I want you to grab a pen, and I want you to jot some names down. 12 Mavericks averaged 10 plus points per game last year. And so just to give you a hint, that includes some guys that played 4 games, 11 games, a cup of coffee, stuff like that. And if you just say, mercy, I don't want to do it, or this sucks, then I can read you the names.
You want me to tell you who those players were?
I want you to try to guess who all 12 of those players are. And if this is the worst idea of all time, then just tell me and we can move on.
Well, I need to switch off the stats page and go to the roster page because that would be cheating. Because I had the stats page all pulled up because that's where I start with this thing.
You want me to just tell you?
No, I'm going to go down the list.
All right.
No, I mean, it's basically the whole team. So let's see if I can do this. Max Christie, I'm going to say yes.
Yep.
Anthony Davis, yes. Dinwiddie, yes. Kessler Edwards. I'm going to say no on Kessler Edwards. Is that correct?
Let me look. Where's K. Edwards? You are correct. 4.2 PPG.
Okay. All right. Dante Exum. Oh, that's a tough one, dude. Let's pass on Dante Exum. Danny Gafford, I'm going to say yes.
Correct.
Kyrie Irving, I'm going to say yes. Kai Jones, no. Derek Lively. God, did Derek Lively average 10 points? I'm going to say yes on Lively. PJ Washington, yes. Klay Thompson, yes. I'm going to go back up to Dante Exum and say yes. Am I missing anyone?
Great job, by the way. Great job, dude. I'm putting you on the spot with this, too. We didn't talk about this before. I wanted to hit Doc with this. Dante Exum. Where's Exum on here? 8.7, Doc. 8.7. You were close. Gafford was a yes, said that. Kai Jones actually did average 11.4 points per game with this team. Lively actually did not average double figures. He was at 8.7. PJ was a yes and Kyrie was a yes. So here are the names. Kyrie, Luka, PJ Washington, Max Christie, Anthony Davis, Najee Marshall at 13.2. You said Dinwiddie, you got that one right. He was at 11. Quentin Grimes, 10.2 before he was moved. I told you about Kai Jones. Gafford was at 12.3. Moses Brown was at 11.8. And so it's like kind of a trick, kind of a dumbass question.
Where is Moses Brown now?
I don't know. You know who knows? I bet John. I bet you AL knows. Andre Lemouche, I bet you AL knows. He said Moses Brown out of the league. 4 games played. That's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to mess with you with this thing, dude.
Oh, dude, it's good. It's good. I forgot about the guys who got moved. So Quentin Grimes and Luka and Moses Brown.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of people averaging double digits.
12 players. Crazy. That's how, I don't know how ESPN does it. That's how Basketball Reference does it. So they'll put Quentin Grimes numbers as a Mav on the Mav team stats, right? And that does not include what he did with the Sixers, just what he did with the Mavs. And so they made a lot of moves and they had 12 different guys average double figures. I thought that was notable, Doc. And by the way, let me just track one last thing. This one surprised me. I would have said Brandon Williams averaged double figures and he did not. He was at 8.3. And I'm sure his name will come up at least once, maybe twice, as we move along here. All right, Doc, fantasy MVP for the Dallas Mavericks last year. This is another very difficult question because I looked at this. I'm like, wow, this is hard because there's not an obvious guy. So who was your fantasy MVP for the Dallas Mavs last year?
I don't know if there was one. Kyrie blew a tire, which sucked, frankly. And he's playing so good. He's been such a good soldier in Dallas. Like, no drama, no complaining. But a minor injury last year that kept him out for enough time that it was annoying. And then this season, the full-blown big one, he's going to miss, half the upcoming season. Anthony Davis was only there for 9 games, so it's hard to say that he was the team's MVP. PJ Washington was disappointing, I think. Klay Thompson, 72 games. Hey, we got an MVP candidate. But Klay didn't have a great year. 14 points and a bunch of empty stats. Man, Rick, it's impossible to pick an MVP from this team. Is it Spencer Dinwiddie?
It's okay to say that. It's okay to say you're not giving one out.
Yeah, there is no MVP, and thank you very much, Nico, for trading away your MVP.
He did not win fantasy MVP. Nico Harrison did not. Look, my answer is they didn't have one too, but I'll manufacture one. Kyrie Irving. Okay, he played 50 games. I mean, he blew a tire. I mean, it's 50 games. It's not 37 games. You know, it's the low majority of the season. But dude, when he played, his numbers were spectacular. 25, 5, and 4. Kobe-esque, 1.3 steals, 2.9 threes, 47, 40, 91, flirting with 50, 40, 90. The guy is an absolutely spectacular player. Oh, pardon me, Doc, go ahead.
That is the right answer.
He was 13th in basketball monster value, which makes him, the first pick of the second round. The most skilled player of all time. I used to fight that and be like, I think it's Curry, but Kyrie's a better finisher at the rim, better ball handler, better with his left hand. I mean, obviously Steph's the best shooter of all time, and I think Steph is number 2 in that debate. Do you think Kyrie is the most skilled player of all time?
Wow, I don't know, man. I'd have to think about that. He's one of them for sure. He might be. Does he have the best handle of all time? Maybe.
I believe he does.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really think of anybody I'd automatically put in front of him. How about that? Your hair's getting long, bro. That's the longest I've ever seen your hair. Are you growing it out? Are you becoming a hippie?
Let it grow, man. Let it grow, man.
Never seen your hair long before.
We're just making it do what it do. Just seeing what's up, man. So yeah, Kyrie Irving, my fantasy MVP. Doc did not have one. Doc will have an answer here, though. I promise.
No, Kyrie. That's the right answer, man. When he was healthy and playing, with or without Luka, he was balling and he was fun. And if you drafted him, he came through for your team for those 50 games. There's no doubt about it. It just sucks that he wasn't able to finish out the season.
Indeed, man. And like you said, I don't know how much of next season. I can tell you one. If Kyrie's available in the last round of my draft, and then I just move him over, he'll be drafted before that. But I don't want to make that journey next year. I fear he's literally not going to play a game. It's a fear. It's a concern. It's cautionary, but that's how I'm approaching it with Kyrie. It's just, that the year after, I may be back on him. All right, players who surprised, Doc. Hit me with 1 or 2 or however many you want.
Oh, man, it's another rough list, dude. Quentin Grimes was not that great when he was there. Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, I guess Najee Marshall was better than we thought he was going to be. All right, 13 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, a steal. Nothing fancy. And every time we got fired up about Najee Marshall, he just kind of faded away. Like, he just never really impressed that much. He was serviceable, but not really impressive. Max Christie was kind of underwhelming, never really did what I thought he was going to do. Spencer Dinwiddie actually played well for a chunk of the season. And he had to because Luka was gone and Kyrie got hurt. And Dante Exum had a few good games for the Mavericks. I think the player I'm probably most excited about on this list of guys with potential, who we'll talk about him later, but I mean, Brandon Williams is the most intriguing player probably on this team. Everybody else, it's just like gross. Danny Gafford, solid fantasy player as usual. If you like 12 points and if you like 7 boards and a couple blocks.
I do like 12-7 with a couple of blocks. I don't like 12-7 with 0.8 blocks. I don't like that. But when you put 1.8, I dig it. Doc, I really thought P.J. Washington had a hell of a year. I loved what we got. The games were a little weird. He played 57. I can't. He must have picked up some kind of injury. I can't remember like what that injury was and all that right now. But he did miss a chunk. But dude, these numbers are fantastic. 14.7 points, 7.8 boards, 2.3 assists, 1.1 blocks, 1.1 steals, 1.6 threes. Ooh la la! Sign me up for that. Is it sustainable? I don't know, dude. I mean, Cooper Flagg's coming in. If they don't trade Gafford, or they're not going to trade Lively. If they don't trade Gafford, then you've got those two guys. You've got Davis, and you'll have Cooper Flagg, and you'll have P.J. Washington. You'll have Najee, who's a forward as well. That's crowded, bro. And I would see playing time and usage rate and statistics coming down for P.J. Washington. But he is coming off of a career year line. And Doc, I'm big with the career year thing. Like when your career year, Norman Powell fits this. When your career year is quite a deviation from every other year on the back of your basketball card, that's when the following year I'm going to fade you. And I am going to fade Norman Powell going into next year, assuming Kawhi, Harden, and Zubats will all be healthy. I will fade Norm. But I feel like this is who P.J. Washington is when you give him the usage rate in the minute. So I don't feel like this is a career year that he could never that's not replicatable. Remember that word? That I feel like this year is duplicable for PJ Washington, but he's got to be in the same role. And I don't know that he's going to be in the same role next year, Doc. Is that kind of how you're looking at PJ Washington too?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of bigs in Dallas, so there's going to be some sort of squeeze. And Anthony Davis does not need to play center on this team. Can they play PJ Washington at small forward? I don't really think so. So it will be interesting. But I also don't think it'll be that hard for him to replicate this. I mean, he's going to be a steal, a block, and a 3 guy either way. It's just, can he score the 15 points? I'm not really sure. By the way, is it weird that a team with Luka Dončić on it, all he does is hog the ball and never shares with his teammates? Is it weird that all those guys scored in double figures despite playing with Luka all year or for half a year? Maybe it's because Luka was gone that they all started scoring. I don't know, but it seems kind of weird to me.
Yeah, I think the answer to that is blended, but dude, Luka makes his teammates better. If that's a bullcrap narrative, dude. That Luka's a stat hog or a ball hog or whatever. No. You remember the late great Kobe Bryant literally used to leave his teammates behind. You remember these games, right? Where Kobe was like, "Man, y'all are whack. I have to do this myself," and he would take 37 shots. Kobe had those games. All right. And it would become a make or miss, win or lose deal, right? Because if it's going to be all Kobe, you're going to lose a lot of those games, right? When it's Kobe going 1-on-5, you're actually going to take a lot of L's that way. But they didn't always have great teams built around him. So he would go in like, all right, F this. I got to get my Kobe on Mamba mentality and get 40 shots up and score 60 points. And he could just do that whenever he wanted. Luka's not that guy, bro. Dude, in the 70-point game, didn't he have 10 dimes or 7 dimes or something like that? I mean, was that a 70-point triple-double or just off of a 70-point triple-double?
No, I think he missed it in rebounds, maybe. But it was close.
I'm just saying,
Sorden and I were there, and you'd think I'd have those stats memorized from that game, but
I have them somewhere. It's a top 10 stat line in the history of the NBA. What Luka did that night, maybe top 5, maybe even top 5 with the 70. Anyway, let's keep it moving here, Doc. Two other guys.
Andre says he won't be able to listen to us for the next 10 minutes, so I would suggest if you feel like dropping F-bombs and just going nuts,
Going ham.
now's the time to do it.
Well, let's see. I don't if a voc or if a rant erupts, then a rant erupts. Let's see. Let's play it out. Uh, good good heads up. Najee Marshall surprised me a little bit, Doc, and I've always liked him, but dude, this was his season-long stat line, which includes like low-dough bench games and the pop moment he had at the end of the year. 13, 5, and 3. Okay, dude. 1 steal per game, 0.9 threes. He's more of a slasher than a jump shooter. But like, I'm just a fan, dude. Like anytime there's opportunity, I know that his talent is going to meet, and that's what we're always looking for, is that marriage of talent and opportunity, right? Like PJ Washington last year, talent met opportunity in a big way. I'm not sure the opportunity will be the same this year, so that's changing. And with Najee as well, Doc, with all the guys that we mentioned, Najee Marshall's going to become like a 13-minute-a-game guy. And you have Max Christie, who's an SGSF, maybe a little PF. They got a lot of wings, dude. So these guys are going to be in each other's way a little bit. I was never, you remember last year, Doc, I was always kind of like, yeah, whatever, on Max Christie. And I still am, but like he's a player now. Like we never saw him do anything with the Lakers, right? Never even played, kind of like Dalton Connect last year. So Max Christie went PRA 11, 4, and 2. Okay, I see you now. You're on the waiver wire as I see you, but I see you. 1.2 defensive stats, not terrible. For like 30 minutes a game, and then 1.7 threes. And that was in 32 games with the Mavericks. So yeah, just wanted to say, Doc, like I don't have my eye on it. I'm not monitoring Max Christie, but we got an idea of what he could do last year, and it wasn't half bad.
Yeah, and I kind of bought in on Christie because I was like, Nico is going to want to showcase this guy to show that they didn't totally get ripped off in the trade. And he was okay, but like you said, it was waiver wire stuff. And he never really turned the corner. And then, dropping Cooper Flag in the middle of such a weird situation, which is what's going to happen here in a couple weeks, is going to be really strange. And Najee Marshall takes a hit. Max Christie takes a hit. And we don't know what it does to PJ Washington. But yeah, there's a lot more questions for the Mavericks right now than there are answers.
Very good point. Very good point. This is a really like fascinating episode, just kind of knowing, doing the prep on it and stuff. There's a lot of cool conversations to come here on the Mavericks. Pardon me. Pardon me. Like Doc said, there's a lot of questions and not a lot of answers right now, but we will try. Want to tell you about the Sports Ethos app. We're making big investments in what we call the next generation of Sports Ethos. The past 12 months have been a game changer for us. We're really ramping up behind the scenes to give you the best fantasy product that there's ever been. We feel like we're nailing that, and we want you guys to download our app now and find out. Stay on top of all the latest news for the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball. Take advantage of our fantasy basketball tools. With me and Doc and Brew and Andre, there's no better quadrant of fantasy basketball minds on earth. Trust me, it's true. Our app is your ultimate edge. Don't miss out. Players who disappointed for the Mavericks last year. Doc, who do you have? Who do you want to start off with? Oh, we lost Doc for a minute. All right, I will give you my list. Luka Dončić. First of all, 22 games with the Mavericks, very disappointing. Traded to the Lakers, very disappointing. Frankly, his stat line with the Mavs was way off from the previous year. It was 28, 8, and 8. I think the previous year he was 34, 9, and 9. So 28, 8, and 8 is spectacular, but it was off of what he did the year before. Nobody could see any of this coming. That he would play 22 games with the Mavs, that he would get traded to the Lakers. Nobody could have seen any of this coming except those dumbasses in Dallas that pulled the trigger on that move. But in spite of it all, Luka Dončić, if you take games played out and you just look at per game value, all right, he was number 6 in the entire league. And this year will safely be a top 4 pick. You can jumble it up. Jokic, Wemby, SGA, Luka. There is a clear-cut top 4, a top fantasy basketball, and then there is a debate for 5, and on and on and on. Anthony Davis disappointed me with the Mavericks. Only played 9 games with them in the regular season. He was injured in his first game. The curse of the Luke Bino, which of course has been lifted with the NBA gifting the Dallas Mavericks the #1 pick in Cooper Flag. That ended the curse of the Luke Bino, by the way. But Anthony Davis's stats weren't even that great on the year in these games with the Mavs. 20, 10, and 4. Like, most dudes would love that. That's down in the points and rebounds from what he usually does. 2.2 blocks is fine. 0.6 steals, little light. 0.8 threes, decent. 29.6 minutes. So I would say that Luka and Davis both disappointed me for the Mavs. Doc, I have a question for you. Is within this segment of players who disappointed, are you on or off of Anthony Davis heading into next year?
Off. There too much history, too much karma, too many bad vibes. I feel like you struck gold that one year, 2 or 3 years ago. You're like, I'm feeling Anthony Davis. I'm going all in on him. And he played a ton of games.
We got one of them,
that was
right?
it. That was the one shot you had with Anthony Davis. Now, he should be very good for Dallas next year, but I don't know. I haven't seen video and film of him hitting the gym and being in tip-top shape like your boy Luka is. Look, dude, those Luka videos and pictures keep coming, man. He looks good.
He does.
He's pissed.
I'm excited, dude. Go ahead. I'm
so
sorry.
pissed off.
So, dude, he's bench pressing and on the treadmill, just a picture of Nico right in front of him. With like a dart thrown right through his nose.
Yeah, it reminds me of like Rocky Balboa training for the Russian or something. Running up a hill with a boulder on it, rope tied.
Was that when he was punching sides of beef in the freezer truck?
Now that was the original. That was Rocky.
That was dope, dude.
Rocky
He's
IV.
punching frozen sides of beef. What the hell is wrong with you, dude?
Rocky. Well, that's all he had to hit, dude. He couldn't afford a gym membership. He just hung out at the meat locker. Yeah. But yeah, the side when he fought the Russian guy in the fourth Rocky, that was like he was going up against a robot that was just gonna take his head off and kill him. So he had to go extra hard in that one.
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, so I feel like that's sort of where Luka has been all summer. And speaking of that, I have a goal for this summer as well, Rick. I sit here and I look at how tan you are. And then they put my pasty white face next to you because all I do is sit inside. And I'm gonna try to go get some sun, at least on my face. Because I'm sick of this contrast of ebony and ivory that's going on right here.
So I would recommend, dude, like take the shirt off and just be out there doing your thing, man. Get it all tan, bro. Your skin wants that vitamin D, bro.
No human being has seen me without my shirt on in like 30 years. I'm just saying. I'm not a never nude, but it's very rare that I do not have a shirt on.
I understand, man.
Yeah, I'm just not a big shirtless guy. Anyway, Anthony Davis, can you disappoint somebody in 9 games? Yeah, I guess you can.
9 games in and of itself is disappointing.
I was disappointed when he got hurt in his very first game with Dallas when they rushed him back too soon. Like, what a disaster all the way around. Klay Thompson, Klay was also a little disappointing. For me, it was a make or break season for Klay. Like, okay, he still got it or he doesn't still have it. And, he can still play, but he's just a role player now.
All right. I want to answer my own question on Anthony Davis, Doc. And the answer is no, I am not on Anthony Davis. That doesn't mean I won't do business with him. Like, for example, Doc, let's say the 5th pick is Giannis, and the 6th pick is Cat, and the 7th pick is Edwards, the 8th pick is Hallie, the 9th pick is Trae Young, right? All right, so if we start, the 10th pick is Cade Cunningham. All right, so Anthony Davis is available at 11. I'm probably going to take him. Okay, that's where I'm at with Anthony Davis, but maybe not. I probably feel better in a 12-teamer if he's at like 13, 14, and I feel like I'm like really stealing there, right? 12th pick is a maybe. It really is, but and he probably belongs in the top 5 debate, for that 5th pick, just statistically and historically. But then you got to contextualize an injury. Here's my thing with Davis, Doc. I've really had my finger on the pulse of Anthony Davis, and because he's an easy guy to read. Some guys, you just don't know where their head's at coming into the year. Like, how motivated, like Nick Claxton next year. What are we getting, dude? Are we getting a dub with 2.2 blocks? Are we getting that bull crap from last year? Like, I don't know. I don't have a good read on him, okay? I got a good read on Davis, though. That year where I was like hot on Davis, it was a high, all chips in the middle of the table, super high motivation LA year, right? And so I knew he was just going to, I just felt it. I'm not getting those vibrations this year, Doc. But what's mitigating is the fact that Dallas is not a train wreck. Even with Kyrie out, you got Flag, you got the centers, you got Davis, you got PJ, you do have some wings. They'll make some kind of a move. Maybe they go get Drew Holiday. I don't know. Like, they're gonna be a competitive team. But Anthony Davis, to me, Doc, needs championship motivation to really, really fire. Like, I don't think he's gonna have that level of motivation. So I'm looking to take him a little bit off of value. That's where I'm at with Anthony Davis. But it's not a no. It's not a no. Klay Thompson, just quickly on him, like Chris Paul, like Kyle Lowry, like Mike Conley, okay? Like these aging sort of goatish guards, right? Like they hit a wall, bro, and then it's over, okay? Like Paul's barely rosterable. Lowry isn't. Conley's barely rosterable. Klay Thompson's barely rosterable. 14, 3 and 2, 1.1 defensive stats. 3 threes per game is nice. 72 games is nice. But if the 17 to 18 point per game Klay Thompson is dead, then we can't do fantasy business together, brah. All right, let's get into the offseason outlook here. And before we talk about Cooper Flag basketball-wise, I want to talk conspiracy theory-wise, Doc. Number 1 pick in the draft. Everybody knows the fix was in. Frozen envelopes, all that kind of stuff. Everybody, and here's why. Doc, everybody, like a lot closer to it than you and me, are just kind of sort of joking about it matter-of-factly, like everybody knows what's up. Okay, did you see Draymond Green on Jimmy Kimmel's show where he's like, man, I'm friends with Adam Silver. I don't want to do my guy like that, but yeah, it's suspicious. Draymond Green said this on one of the top shows in all of America. He basically said the league hooked up the Mavericks, okay? Draymond is as plugged in politically and as a ball player as anybody. And so talk to me about that, dude. Is there any doubt in your mind that the NBA saved intentionally the Dallas Mavericks?
Well, I saw Shaq the other day was telling a story about how he met Commissioner Stern when he got when he said he was coming in the league. And like a week before the draft, Stern said, "Hey, do you want to play where it's warm, or do you care if you play where it's cold?" And Shaq's like, "Oh, bro, I got to play where it's warm." And then Orlando gets the number 1 pick just magically. And Shaq was like, "That was interesting to me. That the fact he asked me that question, and then no. Orlando came up, like that was weird." And then,
bro,
I mean, it seems.
The NBA lottery is so rigged. I don't think the games are rigged. Everyone says the NBA is rigged. I don't think the games are rigged, but the lottery's rigged, bro. How about remember when dude? Remember Washington? Ted Leonsis came in for Washington, right? He took over the Wizards, right? What happened immediately after he bought the team? They got the number 1 pick in John Wall. Remember when the Benson family bought the Pelicans from the NBA? Remember when the NBA owned the New Orleans franchise for a hot minute? And they hated that, by the way. They sold him to the Benson family. What happened to the Benson family? They got Anthony
Davis.
This is not coincidence, people. This is not. By the way, did you hear Adam Silver say about the Mavericks on like some recent interview? He like credited them and gave them like a hug for not tanking. I told you they're going to reward the teams that don't tank, and the lottery's not going to go well for the teams that did tank. How'd the lottery go for the Utah Jazz, Doc?
Not very well.
Not well. And it's not a coincidence.
Do you think Adam Silver intentionally was like, there's nobody worth drafting this year. Let's just give number 1 to the Hawks last year when they at Risa Shea?
Yeah, maybe.
The Hawks have a history of blowing the good draft picks that we give them. Let's just give them number 1 in a year where it doesn't matter.
I think that logic makes some sense. Yes, and they blew it.
I don't know if it's fixed or not. It sure feels like it is, though.
Bro, it's rigged. It is. I mean, the Knicks getting Patrick Ewing. Come on, man. Come on.
Now, can you say this if you were working at Sirius still?
Bro, they would. I don't. I wouldn't be able to say it as
it's rigged
as bluntly as I'm saying it right now. Not even sure I could dance around it. It might be a hands off. It's a good question by you.
NBA TV. Could you have even?
Oh, heck no. No, of course not. Of course not. NBA radio, we had a little more honesty, wiggle room, but not much more, because the NBA was not my boss at SiriusXM NBA radio. The bosses at SiriusXM were my boss, but guess what? The bosses with the NBA are one email away from my bosses at SiriusXM. So yes, they're lurking, they're out there. You need to please them too. And that's how I was able to stay gainfully employed for almost 25 years.
Dude, I'm waiting
with those guys. You got to, Doc. You got to play the game. You got to play the game, right?
I'm waiting for an email from the NBA to Sports Ethos so we can hang it on the wall and laugh at it. Whenever you write an angry, drunken 2 a.m. email to like ESPN Fantasy because a tenth of a point got taken away overnight, and you lost your game, and you're irate. And you're like, to whom it may concern, you guys suck. And then those people get those emails, and they like, man, look at this. They pass it around, and they all have a good laugh about it. And it's like probably like a hall of fame of angry emails hanging around. I want one of those for us from the NBA.
All right, quick story. I'm on the air at 92.9 The Game in Atlanta, Doc. It is a local Atlanta sports show. Okay?
I might have been listening that day.
I'm going off on the NBA refs about something. I forget what it was, dude. That's probably 10, 12, 15 years ago. I don't remember the complaint and the gripe that I had. But I'm on 92.9 The Game in Atlanta. I was also on NBA TV I had the two jobs simultaneously, right? But I'm doing my radio show now, okay? I get a call from my boss at Turner Sports, Tara August. Love Tara to death. She was just doing her job, and Tara and I have a great relationship. She calls me, and I was like in a segment. I'm like, oh God, dude. When your boss randomly calls you, it's like, what? Okay, so we go into break. I immediately call Tara, and she's like, yo, the NBA is listening to you right now, and they called me to call you and tell you to calm down about what you're saying about the refs.
Tell you to shut TFU.
Dude, it's the most Big Brother, up in my shit, Twilight Zone moment of my life. I was like, there's no way this phone call. And I was like, yes, Tara, totally understand. You got it. Won't happen again, right? Boom. And she's like, thank you so much, Rick. I'm sorry to make this call, blah, blah, blah. Okay, bye. See you tonight for the show or whatever. So she was just a conduit for the message, bro. The NBA got up in my ish from my local Atlanta radio show. That's the story. I think that was still the maybe that was the Adam administration. I was going ham on the rest, by the way. I was going ham.
So much so Yeah, they had to get
Like,
this guy off the air. Get it.
I don't know if they were monitoring me every day or if it just happened that they were listening that day and they heard me. But yeah, they blew the whistle on me. They blew the whistle on
Well,
me,
it could
bro.
be as simple as somebody who's friends with somebody in the NBA office who lives in Atlanta was listening. Then they called their buddy and like, man, this dude in Atlanta is just going off on the refs last night. Well, that's Kamla.
No, this was all in real time, bro. This was all in real time. Like, I'm slamming the refs. Somehow they're hearing me. They get in contact with my boss at Turner Sports. I mean, it was all in real time. I'm like, that's what I was like, am I dreaming? Is this a nightmare? Is this actually really happening? I'm like, no, this is really happening. My dudes at the radio station were like, dude, their jaws were on the table. They were like, oh my God, I can't believe the NBA is big brothering you that way. Yep. I mean, I worked a zillion more years with the NBA. It wasn't like I was in like job jeopardy or anything. They just wanted to curb ya boy. All right. Cooper Flagg's numbers at Duke, Doc. Check these out. Dude. This is the homie that we are welcoming to the league. This is what the fuss is about. 19.2 points, 7.5 rebounds. Check this line out, Doc. 4.2 assists, 1.4 blocks, 1.4 steals, 1.4 threes. He's a 1-1-1 guy. He's a 1.5 guy. Coming out. Dude, his shooting splits 48, 38, 84, which is elite for a college player. And he did all of that in 30.7 minutes. He didn't play 35 or 36 minutes, dude. The guy's a generational talent. Everybody agrees he's the absolute shit. And congratulations to dynasty managers who tanked, okay? But I got a warning for dynasty managers, Doc, okay? And to the guy in Cam Dynasty, I'm not going to mention his name. He tanked. He got Wemby. His team sucks. It's ass rotten every single year. You know why? Young on young. He's never going to win. He's going to waste Wemby's entire career in the Cam Dynasty, and he will never trade him. Okay? You can't just get a Cooper Flagg and then build young and think you're going to win it. Okay? If you are in a dynasty league, yes, you've got to always have young in your mind. But you also have to have stats in your mind. Go for it. You're getting Cooper Flagg, dang it. Don't build a team with Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley and Marcus Sasser up in Detroit and all these guys that are never, ever going to pop, okay? Cut them. Get a vet like Alex Caruso. Somebody's actually going to give you stats, okay? The players I'm mentioning and the analogies are weird, but hopefully you get the point. You need guys that are going to give you stats. So just a little rant right there in a memo because I know people they tank for Flagg, they got Flagg, they think they're set. Dude, that's just the beginning. Now your work begins when you get a guy like Cooper Flagg. You can't rest on your laurels. I think the cat with Wemby in my league is resting on his laurels.
Rick, I think that's a very good point. And I wish that you would have had that talk with me when I was still in Cam Dynasty because I think I was building my team, thinking about 5 years down the road, and all my guys were young, and the veterans I had kind of sucked. And it's got to be a combination of youth and veterans, and you can't just do it with youth. So that's a good point. And I was never that into dynasty that I ever really fully figured that out. So good point.
Thank you, my brother. That is Hall of Famer Steve Alexander. I am Rick Kamla. We are the Fantasy NBA today. All right, free agency for the Mavs here. Spencer Dinwiddie, Dante Exum, Kessler Edwards, and Kai Jones are two-way guys. Kyrie Irving has an interesting decision, Doc. He's got a $43 million player option. Brandon Williams and Markieff Morris are also unrestricted free agents. How busy will the Mavericks be on the trade market? Does Kyrie Irving want out? Does Anthony Davis want out? It doesn't really feel like Anthony Davis wants to be there. And I heard some intel from a buddy of mine who's pretty plugged in that Kyrie Irving might want out. It wasn't definitive, but there's a little bit of smoke there. And then, look, Gafford and PJ Washington, Doc, are entering the final year of their deals, making them extremely tradable. And you think about it, you already have Lively. So Gafford's kind of a luxury piece. And now you have Flagg, Davis, and Lively, making PJ Washington a bit of a luxury piece. So there's potentially a ton of moves here, and there's potentially not very many moves at all here. I don't know how this is going to go.
Yeah, I don't either. It's a mess, really. I mean, you've traded away the franchise, and your fantasy MVP from last season may not play this year. So you're already like, what is going to happen here? I think we're going to see Brandon Williams be a fantasy darling sleeper pick. Probably will be overdrafted. You know what I'm saying? Brandon Williams, there's going to be a lot of talk about him coming in. Point guard for the Mavericks when Kyrie Irving is out maybe for the year. Spencer Dinwiddie was he on the list of free agents? Is he out?
Yeah. Yep. Dinwiddie's a free agent.
And Jaden Hardy ain't a point guard. And Dante Exum, did you say he was also maybe gone?
Yeah, there's an option on his deal. Exum is a free agent. Yes, I think it's.
So I'm kind of fired up
about.
I'm kind of fired up about Brandon Williams. That is the only off-season thing I'm fired up about.
Give me a break, dude. Kyrie might be traded. Davis might be traded. Gafford and PJ Washington might be traded. And the thing that you're the most fired up on, they're drafting Cooper Flag. And the thing that you're the most excited about their offseason is Brandon Williams. Dude, you rock a little differently than the rest of us, man.
Well, I mean, am I excited to see if Cooper Flag's going to live up to the hype? Yes. That's exciting. And you just said Anthony Davis might not want to be there. I have not heard that. And I feel like, you know, he also is mentally involved with this whole Luka was crushed when he was traded to the Lakers. Like he was crying like a little baby when he went back to Dallas, and it was emotional and it was very intense. And same thing has to be going through Anthony Davis's head a little bit, like doubt. Like, did LeBron not want to play with me? Like, did LA not want me? And am I good enough? Like, you know, just stuff like that goes through your head. I don't care who you are. So does he want to play for Nico? I mean, Nico could easily turn around and do to AD what he did to Luka. Like, that's the thing about Nico getting guys to come play for him in Dallas is like, I don't know, man. Is this guy just going to up and trade me? And are they going to come take my beer away from me? What a punk move, dude. Take a Luka's beer. I'd be like, give me that back or I'm going to hit you in the face. Anyway, I don't know. I'm excited about Brandon Williams. I'm excited about Cooper Flag. Everything else to me is just one big question mark. I would love to see Lively or Gafford get moved and just let one of those guys have the job. That would be fun.
And then have the other guy get 30 minutes and be a rock star in fantasy over there. Literally create a trade of Gafford would create two fantasy monsters, because right now neither are monsters, but a trade to the right spot would create two different fantasy monsters. Doc and I in the fantasy world, we love trades like that. Guys, I can tell you right now definitively that we're going through all 30 teams from a fantasy perspective with these segments that we've got taking deep dives. This is by far the longest that we have gone on any team, and this will, I'm sure, be the longest that we go on any team. So long, in fact, that we are changing our show structure here. We were supposed to do the Hawks in this episode as well. We are going to do the Hawks and two other teams in our next episode that'll be coming out on Thursday. So this has been a Mavericks extravaganza. And check this out. Some numbers here on Brandon Williams. 25-26, he's non-guaranteed at 200,000. 200,000 guaranteed on 7/7 of this year, under a month from now. 850 guaranteed on opening night, fully guaranteed on January 10th. So the Mavs still have him at extremely low dough. And depending on what they do at the point guard position, he may get a lot of minutes and be a hell of a beginning of the season playing player. I'm not convinced Kyrie Irving's playing at all next year. I'm not convinced about that. He might, but I'm not convinced about that. I think we literally may go a whole year without Kyrie. With the injury that he suffered. Again, I hope I'm wrong about that. But those are the goodies there on Brandon Williams. All right, players to watch as we head into next year. And I'll go through this as quickly as I can here, Doc. Will Cooper Flag come off the bench if the Mavs make no moves? Let's talk about that quickly here. You've got Gafford Lively. You've got Davis. P.J. Washington's been a stalwart as your small forward. He guards the opposing best player. Let's not forget that. He's out there on SGA and guys like that. Klay Thompson, and then you will have whatever point guard. Does Flagg come off the bench, or is he guaranteed to start?
It would be the most Dallas Nico thing ever to bring Cooper Flagg off the bench after all this hype. But I don't even think he's that dumb. I don't know. Cooper Flagg is starting. I don't. If it's my team, if I have anything to do with it, he's starting. I will be shocked if he's not starting for Dallas.
I would not be shocked. I would be surprised. Let me give you some numbers on Brandon Williams. He's a player I'm watching as well. 11 games in the month of March. He went 16.6 points, 3.4 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 1.7 steals, 1.1 threes in 26 minutes. Doc thought that I had won the 30 Deep championship with my pickup of Brandon Williams. And Doc jinxed my pickup of Brandon Williams, who subsequently had to miss a whole bunch of games because of his two-way contract status. So that really did not pop the way I thought it was going to pop, Doc. But that was a heck of a month of March for him.
He played well. He played very well. I thought it was a big move, but the missed games hurt.
Man, dude, for a minute there, I was like, I think I struck gold. I think I'm Captain Jack Sparrow with booty and bounty and and all that jazz, man. All right, Doc, let's look ahead to Game 3 of the NBA Finals. And as we sit here, let me get the point spread. It was 5.5 when I looked at it last night, and we are still at 5.5. All right, so talk to me, bro. Get on the record. ATS, prop bets, what you got?
Pacers at home. Best record in the East since January, getting 5.5 points after pulling off one of the greatest upsets ever in Game 1 at Oklahoma City. I mean, look, I think Oklahoma City is going to either blow this thing open and win by 25, or it's going to be a super tight game. It's going to go down the wire. Pacers, even when OKC kind of blew them out in Game 2, Indy never went away. They hung in there and just kept hanging around. So I think Indy hangs in there. I love them getting 5.5. I wish it was 6, but I'll take the 5.5. What you got?
So the fact that you love the Pacers at 5.5 tells me that you don't necessarily agree with this point spread. I don't necessarily agree with this point spread, but Doc, I have learned in my years of sports betting and sports betting analysis where I've been paid to tell y'all what to do, or at least advise you maybe kind of sort of what to do. Every time there's a point spread that I'm like, wow, it pays off every time. And I have tried to defy that and beat that and swim upstream against it, and it's always an L every single time. Because these handicappers and all the sharp money, I know what the F I'm doing, but that's different. It becomes more like business almost than sports and betting. So that side is very legit, and I tend to sort of gravitate that way now as a seasoned guy. So this evokes a whoa. I have a rule. Go with the whoa, okay? So I'm rocking with OKC here minus 5.5. Do I like the line? No, I don't like the line. I think this should be like 2.5. I think Indiana maybe even kind of sort of should be favored. This line is like, wow, really? Okay, so I'm going with the whoa. And it's kind of it's hard to quantify, right? I don't have a 22-1 stat to put on this. This is just a personal seasoned overtime conditioned vibe that I've developed. Now let's go into some analysis. Indiana is at home in the finals. They have home court advantage after winning Game 1. They won the East in the playoffs with a record of 12-4. You just mentioned best team in the East since whatever. I don't think they've lost back-to-back games since March 10th or something. I believe that's the statistic. All of this speaks to what in the hell is OKC doing minus 5.5. Again, it supports me taking OKC minus 5.5. Go with the whoa. And so the number seems fishy to me, so I got to go with it. I got a stat for you here, Doc. I got a stat for you. Indiana has lost all 3 Game 3s so far. They lost game 3 to Milwaukee, game 3 to Cleveland, and game 3 to New York. And there were some different scenarios with, 2-0 leads and returning home, or 2-0 lead and then you're going on the road or whatever. But they've lost every game 3 in these playoffs. And they basically won every other game, but they've lost every single game 3. Is that coincidence? Will that pattern repeat itself? Well, it does kind of marry with OKC being favored -5.5, if you ask me. Indiana has not been world beaters at home in the playoffs. They're 6-2. They were 3-0 against the lame dead Milwaukee Bucks, then 1-1 against Cleveland, and 2-1 against New York. So I have OKC here. I will lay the 5.5, Doc. And how about some prop bets?
I know he keeps hitting, but Shea at over 34.5 points is too rich for my blood. I'm taking the under there. I'm laying off Jalen Williams. I like over 19.5 for Pascal Siakam. And, they're shutting Tyrese Halliburton down offensively, but 8.5 assists. I like the over 8.5 assists for Tyrese.
I like it, Doc. All right. I'm on Halliburton, Doc, over 17.5 points. He has yet to break out. He's had spurts like the fourth quarter of game 2, but nothing mega. An eruption game may happen tonight. It's going to happen at some point. He went 14 points on 6 of 13, 17 points on 7 of 13. This is a low number at 17.5. Any kind of and he talked about that he needs to start faster because he was really bad in the first half of game 2. So that's going to be a focus. Play faster, take more shots, be more aggressive. So I think we're going to see all of that kind of pivot here tonight for Halliburton. I like Obi Toppin's over tonight, Doc. His number is 9.5. He's coming off of a terrible game 2 when he had 3 points on 1 of 8 shooting. He's back home. Role players play better at home. I like Obi Toppin over 9.5. I like Ben Mathurin, Doc, over 8.5. I believe that Rick Carlisle is going to go to Ben Mathurin more as the series goes on. He's been really good, okay? He had 14 points in 22 minutes in game 2, helping me lose my late game, pardon me, chase money, live betting on OKC. Ben Mathurin was a big part of me losing some of those bets. Game 1 wasn't great, 5 points in 16 minutes. Late in the New York series, Doc, you remember him. He had 2 20-plus point games. It was like game 4 and game 5 or something like that. Mathurin is a low-key baller right now. And I think Rick Carlisle, tonight, if the lead, I just think Mathurin's going to play more tonight. I'm feeling him. I'm over 8.5 on him. And I'm a camp bet SGA. I don't know if I can go under on him, Doc, but I'll tell you this. Rick Carlisle played the crying strategy on SGA. I don't know if you saw this, but he said, he just was like, he has, you can just put 34 in the box score when he wakes up in the morning, right? Bubble popped by Rick Carlisle. It's subtle, it's sarcastic, but in a way, it's the crying strategy. You're saying, I can't beat this guy. We suck. He rocks. He can do whatever he wants against us. It's a form of the crying strategy. So we know that the crying strategy is undefeated. So I do agree with you, Doc, that SGA is going under. I just don't have the balls to play the under on SGA right now. But I do have the cojones to go over on Chet Holmgren at 14.5. In 2 games, he's gone 16 and 15. He shot 8 of 20. He's due for an eruption. J-Dub, over 21.5. In 2 games, he's gone 17 and 19. He's 11 of 33 from the field. He's due for an eruption. So I am on those 2 guys over, and that does marry with OKC winning this game by more than 5.5 points. So there you go. It's all unpacked. Anything else for the people, or should we move on to the next episode, brother?
Well, 2 things. Brandon, you probably already said this, but Brandon Williams is not guaranteed for next year. I don't know why Dallas would not keep him there, but it's not guaranteed that he's going to be there. Secondly, are you drafting Kuminga or Mathurin next year, Rick?
What? Kuminga? Okay. Mathurin is going to be just a lost in the shuffle bench player for Indiana. He's hitting moments right now because it's the playoffs and you're just looking for any kind of spark. What I said about Brandon Williams was the Mavs have control of him, but they could cut him. But why would the Mavs cut him at that low money right there? To me, they're going to pick up those options, and he should be a Mav, but it's not guaranteed. But it is likely, I would say. For Dr. A, for Andre Lemouche, I am Rick Kamla. Download the app. It's free, the Sports Ethos app. Go to sportsethos.com. Subscribe to our work. We love you. We appreciate you. This has been the largest Mavs extravaganza you will find in the offseason. Hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye. This episode's been brought to you by Bet Online.